John C. McGinley, Ground Floor on TBS, returns for a new season Tuesday, December 9th at 10 p.m. Good to see you, sir.
Good to be seen, Rich, always.
It is great to see you. It is outstanding. You're one of the best, John C. McGinley.
Hey, Rich.
Yes, sir.
As we progress and we come back,
yes.
could we get into the man behind the logo?
Yes.
Could we get into who is that? Sure, it's Rich Eisen. Who's that guy?
You mean
Who is the guy?
the karma, the mantra, the heart that beats within?
Two things.
Yes.
Who's Rich Eisen?
Yes.
Who's the logo? And are they the same people?
That's coming up. This man is on a very funny program on TBS called Ground Floor. It's in its second season, starting next Tuesday, December 9th at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. I've loved you also in all these great Oliver Stone movies and then Scrubs. Good to see you, John C. McGinley. How are you, John?
I've never been better, to tell you the truth.
Well, I find that hard to believe because I also saw Law Brockman. I saw this man, you on Broadway, and Glenn Ross.
It was a great night.
Well, you crushed it. And there was only Al Pacino on the stage. Bobby Cannavale, who, by the way, is going to be sitting in this chair in a couple of Fridays, filling in for the show.
On the planet.
Period.
You're
great in that, man. You're great in that.
Susie and Rich came to Glengarry Glen Ross, which was a revival of the Pulitzer Prize-winning play 2.5 years ago now. And then we had a genius dinner afterwards with Joshy Charles and Bobby, and it was one of the great nights.
Yeah. I was fond memories of that night and that play, and you were just great in it. And now you're back doing comedy again in Ground Floor. Are you enjoying what you're doing?
Bill Lawrence, who created Scrubs, came to me right after Glengarry and said, "Do you want to do another TV show?" And my cup was full, thanks to Bill, because the run on Scrubs had been so fulfilling, creatively and financially. And I said, "You know what? No, I'm good. I've just coming off Glengarry. My cup is full." And he said, I'll give you complete creative autonomy to create this guy, Mr. Mansfield. And the hook, I was seduced. The hook got my gums a little bit, and I ended up writing something called the Mansfield Manifesto, which is a 20-page document that I worked on all summer before we started.
For your character on Ground Floor.
Yeah, and I submitted it to the writers, and I wanted it to be a tool that could catapult us past all the finding this character blah blah, so that we could get right into it, and you could worry about other things, the mythology about the dike breaking and having to put your finger in a hole where the problems are. Mansfield wasn't going to be that. I wanted to be going, and it worked. It wasn't received as an act of arrogance or entitlement. It was used as a crib sheet by the writers, and so we just got to fly with this guy.
This sounds like the thing that Jerry Maguire had,
Absolutely.
to follow his rules.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
John, I wrote a 3-page manifesto, and Rich threw it out right away.
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Didn't even acknowledge
because there is no creative control here on this program, John.
Well, it's called The Rich Eisen Show.
Yeah, for a reason.
It's not called The Rich Eisen and the Coconuts Show. It's The Rich Eisen Show, which brings me to my point. Rich Eisen in the logo. Let's talk about you for a second.
Okay, John.
Cut to Summer of Love, 1969, middle of June. Bang, Rich Eisen shows up in Brooklyn.
Yes, John C. McGinley, you're correct.
We moved to Staten Island, have a, somewhat eventful upbringing.
Yes.
And then you have the spine to apply to Ann Arbor. What made you think you could get into Ann Arbor? These are all rhetorical questions. Please don't answer any of them. You're not done at the Big Ten when you graduate.
Correct.
You say, you know what, I'd like to go to Evanston. So you apply to, literally like getting into Fort Knox, the journalism school, Medill, at Northwestern.
That's true.
Matriculate through there, get out. All of a sudden, you're in Redding, California, in NoCal. What the hell are you doing up there? But when you're a newbie, you got to take what you can get. All of a sudden, Connecticut calls and says, "Do you want to be part of the startup network?" You help co-define ESPN.
Co-define.
You meet one of the great gals on the planet.
Yes,
you know
thank
I
you.
adore your wife.
Yes.
I think she's one of the coolest women I've ever met, and I damn sure mean that. Then all of a sudden you go, you know what? I'm trading at my highs. My stock is trading at its highs.
Yes.
I think I'll jump ship and join a new network, NFL.
Yes.
Become the face of the NFL.
None of this is incorrect.
None of that's good enough. So you say, you know what? I'll start the Rich Eisen show just from scratch. I'll follow a branded piece, Danny's show.
Yep, Danny P.
I'll follow that, and I'll create this space out of nothing, out of ether. I'll hire the coconuts, and we're going to do a show.
We're going to do a show, 3 hours a day.
So, as if that's not big enough, at one point, Terrell Davis says, I bet you can't do a 40-yard dash.
Yes.
At the Combine in Indianapolis, you go, yes, I can, and you proceed to run a 7-second 40, 7-second plus 40 in a suit, albeit in a suit. Now.
And lace-ups in your Crocs.
They're rhetorical.
Sorry.
That brings us to the end of the story, which is where controversy enters. Two forms. In the last 10 years, you've lowered your 40 time more than a second.
That's true, John C. McGinley.
What are you on?
What am I on?
Do you go diet? Do you go chemicals? Do you train differently? A second for a man who, all due respect, is 45 years old.
Yes.
Firm, defying gravity, looking good, very handsome, got the great voice.
God bless you.
One of the brightest voices in sports. But to all of a sudden lower your time a full second?
Is this no longer rhetorical? Do you want an answer?
They're no longer rhetorical.
Okay. It is a combination of kale and methamphetamines.
You get on the meth.
Oh, yeah. The blue stuff.
I knew it, because your time, it was Bonds-esque.
The blue stuff. The blue stuff.
It went off like an alarm in my head. I'm like, huh.
Yeah.
A full second, but 10 years older.
But kale, I do have a natural element to this, though.
Which also begs the question,
yes.
The logo. A year or so ago now, with the Jerry West being the NBA logo, it came out that the guy who designed it,
yes,
it wasn't really Jerry West.
It was.
But it was.
Yeah, of course.
Is the logo you?
Is it really me?
I have a few guesses on who it might be.
John C. McGinley of Ground Floor, Tuesday, December 9th at 10 p.m. Eastern Time on TBS. Please tell me who you think, if that is not me, because that sure looks like me. And that does appear to be my 40 gate part of the...
It's a little too perfect.
Is it a little too perfect?
Yeah.
Okay. So who do you think
A bunch of us got together, and we decided that it could be one of three people.
Okay.
Valery Bortsov, the gold medalist from 1972.
Okay.
From Russia, who invented decline sprinting, which I also wanted to suggest to you, where you can overstride. And it turns out that with Valery Bortsov, Herschel Walker's mailbox was about a quarter mile down a driveway in Georgia, and it was sloped at about 15 degrees, which is the perfect down slope that Valery Bortsov had. And he had a perfect stride, just like you. Ran with open hands.
Yes.
A la Steve Austin, the $6 Million Man.
Yes.
The other is a man who sits in this chair all the time, one of the great track athletes to ever play in the NFL, Rod Woodson.
Rod Woodson.
Yes.
Rod Woodson, please, we're clipping this moment right now to play for him tomorrow, that you would think that this logo is Rod Woodson.
One of the great hurdlers to ever play in the NFL.
I will snap the photograph of his face and send it to you.
Deal.
Got to tell you, Rich, doesn't end too well for Valery Bortsov. This is a current photo of him.
What is it?
It's not. Didn't hold
Chris,
up.
he was a gold medalist.
Was.
How many golds have you and I won combined?
By the way, look on the screen how they have Chiron now.
Oh, come on. Hey, at least I'm number one.
Coconut number one.
Top billing, John.
Top billing coconut.
For the radio audience, they've just been Chiron, coconut number one and coconut number two.
That's fantastic.
And who's the third? Is there a third when you said it's
well, you.
People? Oh, me. Yeah, it's me. That is definitely me. That is definitely me. Speaking of looking like somebody, Dan Patrick says that you...
I heard it driving in.
Yes, driving in. He said that I should put a split screen of you and Jason Garrett, Dallas Cowboys head coach, up. And I think we have that for the television audience. And for the radio audience, I must tell you, it is uncanny. It is absolutely uncanny.
There's a fun 6 degrees of separation between Jason and myself.
Now, what picture is that? What film might that be from? Could you peg it?
It was a photo shoot for Ability, which is an advocacy magazine, a great advocacy magazine for our special needs population. And so we did a cover shoot, and that's what that's from.
That's what's from that film?
Yes.
Okay. And
very manly, leadership-looking photograph.
It does look very virile. Yes.
I'm feeling pretty manly right now, having just wrapped the show. What I segue into is chopping wood. Surfing.
Chilling
I
with
moved
Chelios?
a bunch of dirt
Chilling
the other
with
day.
Chelios?
Chelly's coming to town on Thursday. I'm a little rugged right now.
Okay,
You
you
can
are. You've got that sort of grizzled look right
It
there.
frames my face beautifully.
So what is the 6 degrees of separation between you and Jason Garrett?
His father was our high school football coach for one game my sophomore year.
Is that right?
Jim Garrett showed up with huge fanfare to Millburn, New Jersey, to take over our football program. And he had been
one game?
He had been a scout with the New York Giants and had a storied NFL coaching career. Great guy. And he shows up, gives us a playbook like this, and we lost to Livingston, New Jersey, our first year, so that 1975, I was a sophomore on special teams, kind of on the outside looking in, all the big seniors or, all the studs. And we lost 45-3, and he quit after one game.
He quit?
Which just threw the whole program into disarray for my remaining 3 years.
Maybe you should have played better special teams, John. Did you ever think about that?
You're putting this on me?
So that's just 1 degree of separation right there.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
That's
it wasn't.
it.
You're right.
I was waiting for where Kevin
Bacon
Bacon came in.
Yes. So Jason's father was our football coach in Millburn, New Jersey, in the summer of 1975.
That is impressive.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.